Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Tent Talks Tunes. Do you see what this is? This is a Mevo video camera for web streaming. It's a piece of garbage. Back in the old days when I had Trash American Style, the brick and mortar store, and I had problems with printers or keyboards or whatever, and they malfunctioned, I would simply rip the offending piece of equipment from the computer, or whatever it was hooked up to, and destroy it. Smash it, hurl it across the room in a fit of pique. And I kind of did that with the Mevo camera. As you can see, the base that it was supporting, that was on the tripod with, has cracked a little bit. I wasn't able to destroy the camera. So I wonder if I should do that. I wonder if I should destroy this camera live on Facebook. Think I should do that? I'm leaving it up to you guys. I see some of you are logged in right now. Who wants to see me destroy a Mevo? And this is, see the brand name right there. Everything's backwards. I'm reduced to using my camera here. My cheap Radio Shack cell phone, so everything's backwards. This is a Mevo camera. It's a worthless piece of garbage. I spent $300 on it. Should I destroy it? Or should I hang it from my rearview mirror? I'm getting some votes to say, my good pal T. Kadef says, kill Cam, kill it. I am sorely tempted. Larry Mann says he wants a white riot. Brandon Yitai is saying kill, kill, kill. Clinton Zilla, the current AV master for Anti-Scene Incorporated, is saying $300? Damn shame. I agree with you, Clinton Zilla. How about if I just drop it and stomp on it a few times and chase the cat away and waste no more time with idiotic bullshit technology? Jillian, my honorable ancestor in They Hate Us, says it would be amazing, but I should probably sell that. You know, Jill, Miss Jill has always been the voice of reason. So I'm going to take your advice, Miss Jill. I'm going to stop stomping on it. I will not hurl it across the room. I'm just going to let it lay there and grovel in its own dust. While, in spite of all the odds, I bring you this week's episode of Tent Talks Tunes. Don't worry, Clinton Zilla, I stomped it, but I don't think I busted it. I'm not even going to look. If it turns out that I did bust it, well, let's look. Let's see if I actually managed to damage this stupid thing. No, look at that. I must say it's built tough. It's definitely built tough. I wonder if it can survive another drop. Or another stomp. Built tough. Built tough. I'll give Mevo credit for one thing. They build a hardy product. It's worthless for live streaming, but it is built tough. And anybody who might want to edit this into a Mevo anti-commercial and post it, feel free. Alan Versapellis, he's got the right idea. Sign it and sell it. Haha, that's what I should do. Maybe I will. Would anybody like a genuine artifact of a Malcolm temper tantrum? Well, look at that. It's not there no more. If anybody wants a genuine artifact of a live temper tantrum here on Tent Talks Tunes, drop me a line. It cost me $300. I'll sell it to you for $300, and I'll sign it. I'll even smash it into little tiny bits if you want, and I'll mail you the pieces. How's that for customer service? Kind of reminiscent of the days when I did the Jeff Leppard 7-inch single. Anybody remember that? The Jeff Leppard record, which was willfully designed to be the worst record ever released. And Jeff Clayton and I had that idea. And we succeeded in releasing the worst record ever made, to the extent that nobody wanted to buy the damn thing. So I laid down an ultimatum many, many years ago. This was in 1990 something or other when we released it. I forget exactly. I placed an ad in Maximum Rock and Roll saying anybody who wants to get a copy of Jeff Leppard, the worst record ever released, get it now, because any unsold copies will be destroyed on such and such date. If you try to order it after that, you are out of luck. And sure enough, there was a little bit of a bubble in sales. I sold a few after that. And then the appointed day came, and I commenced to smashing. I tore sleeves into little tiny bits. I broke those records up into little guitar pick-sized and shaped chunks. I scattered them to the wind behind 12 Mill Plain Road in Danbury. In fact, I'm sure if you go there right now, you will still find remnants of those Jeff Leppard records blowing around in the parking lot or lodged in the weeds, and that was 30 years ago. So, yes, in the spirit of Jeff Leppard, I am perfectly willing, ready, and able to take this Mevo camera and blast it into smithereens and send you the pieces. And I'll autograph any piece that's big enough to actually be autographed. And I do have some fine-tipped pens, so if the pieces are small, I could do a small little autograph. $300, I break even, you get a bodacious souvenir, and I'm reduced for the time being to streaming backwards using my cheap cell phone. What do you guys call that? Win-win-win or win-win-win or what? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. Ugh. As you might have noticed from the tone of my voice, I'm a little bit ill. Last 4 tours I did, that's 4, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last 4 tours I've done in the last year or so, I picked up the bug. Whatever bug was in the van, anybody who had a cough or a cold or some sniffles, you know, that's just the reality of touring life. If something like that is on the van and you don't load up on your antioxidants and immune builders, you're going to get the bug. And sure enough, I got the bug. 4 times out, 4 times back. And so I'm like a little bit rough. T. Kadef says that these Mevos are going for $400 now. That's $400 ill spent, but that's a bargain for you. You can get mine for only $300, either intact or smashed into little tiny pieces. I've already begun on it. The tripod that it was on now has a broken, whatever you call that, platform. I'm not too sure what that is, but it's busted, probably beyond repair. So how about if I do this? I'll give you guys a little warm-up for what I can do to the Mevo camera. I have the ability to do this to the Mevo camera. You ready? How's that for a spectacle? Y'all like spectacle? I got spectacle right here. There, you get pieces of a tripod too. Mevo, don't mess with a peaceful man. Don't do it. I will throw in the remnants of that tripod for free if you buy the Mevo camera for $300, which I will sign. I'll even sign the individual, now amputated legs of the tripod. I offer you, my frantic fans, loyal listeners, and vivacious viewers, the deal with appeal. We will revisit that topic as Tent Talks Tunes toddles along this week. I have better things to talk about with you folks than shiz product like Mevo cameras and web streaming technology. All right, deep breaths. Deep breaths. My trademark is that I'm a mellow fellow. I am a subdued dude. Okay, I'm mellow and I'm subdued. I'm going to reach on over here to the T. Kadef on my original post says, thoughts and prayers for me and my technological woes. Thank you, Mr. T. Kadef. You are a scholar, a gentleman, and a darn good customer here. All right, let's get the monitor going here, because I have the ability to do so. Okay, there, I can see you guys in full size, and I can see my weird-ass camera angle, and knowing that you guys are on board. Nate Tinkham is in the house. He says, loving the Nirvana CDs, how am I today? Well, Nate, let me tell you, I'm glad you're liking the Nirvana CDs. Nate purchased for me recently the classic Nirvana CD box set called Into the Black. And it was a CD box set that I've owned for probably the better part of 30 years. It was from my personal collection, and as I talked about last week, I'm moving to North Carolina, and so I have to let stuff go. I have to cast my collection's fate to your wind, so to speak. And Nate purchased that box set and is enjoying it very much. Nate, glad you dug it, man. There's plenty more where that came from. I've actually been packing the van up for the past few days. Whenever I have to go to North Carolina for business, I load the van up. I've got a 2013 Dodge Grand Caravan, and I'm pretty good at Tetrising that thing jam-packed full from stem to stern, port to starboard, top to bottom. I just wedge my worldly possessions in there, and every time I go to North Carolina, I take a whole load of stuff down there, put it in storage, come back empty. And so I'm doing that again in a couple of days, actually. And the fewer CD box sets I have, the happier I am. And you, as the customer who appreciates great merchandise, are also happier for that. So, as I said before, keep an eye, actually keep that kind of an eye, making sure it's wide open. Keep an eye on the various social mediums for updates on my move and my yard sale to end all yard sales. It's gonna happen. It's so gonna happen. Boy, the comments are coming in thick and furious here. All you gotta do is destroy something and people really react positively. T. Kadef wants to know if the new Gary Forney is available yet. We're going to talk about that, actually, in a minute or two, Mr. T. Kadef. Yeah, Clinton Zilla has said it truthfully. Mevo better watch their back. Greg Lathrop says he works in shipping and he gets the Tetris analogy. This is a true fact. I've worked very few jobs in my life. I've been very fortunate in that I've been able to dodge the time clock bullet for most of my life. But every job I've ever worked, I've picked up a skill here or there. And one job that I did work when I still lived in Florida was in a warehouse doing packing and receiving, shipping and receiving. And I learned how to pack a box, and I learned how to pack boxes into a truck. And it's a skill that has served me very well over these years. So I'm going to hoist my jug of Danbury Tap and make an official toast to everybody out there who has to work a job but can actually get something from it. Mazel tov to all of you. Excuse me while I cough. Pardon me. Okay. Ms. Heather Wright says that she hauls for a small ag business, and she calls one of her clients a Tetris master. Loading a van is a fine skill. It is true. It really is. I get a lot of satisfaction when I'm done loading the van, and I get into it, and I can feel it riding lower. Like I can physically feel that the load is making the van ride low to the ground. That's how I feel like I've done my job and done it correctly. So I've been doing an awful lot of that lately. And if anybody worries about me hauling too much stuff down to North Carolina, please do not. Please do not. You would be astonished. You would be as astonished as I am at the sheer quantity of high-quality shiz that I have in my attic, my basement, my living room, my shed, that has all got to be sold. Because there is just no point and having all this stuff that's sellable and just packing it into a truck, excuse me, and moving it 800 miles. Why not sell it now? Why not generate some much needed cash for the move and, excuse me, make the move easier? Boy, I've got a cough. That cough is annoying me. You know what I'm going to do because of that? I'm going to grab this amputated leg from the tripod I just destroyed and hurl it to the ground. Check this out. Then I'm going to cough some more. You guys are so fortunate. You're seeing a side of me that I never reveal, let alone live on Facebook. Or archived forever on my YouTube channel. Now you see, if Mevo wasn't such worthless garbage, you would have a nice panoramic view of my award-winning cable TV style backdrop. But since I'm reduced to using my phone and the phone only supports portrait mode, you can only see the small sliver of my award-winning cable TV backdrop. And you have to see it in reverse. But you know what? Excuse me, I cannot be stopped. So we're going to check the bulletin board right now. Enough of this ranting and raving and raging and railing. Let's show you what's happening on the bulletin board. Well, if anybody out there is dyslexic, you're in luck, because you'll be able to read this with no problem. Anti-Scene is playing some shows. We are gigging out. We are not marking out. We are gigging out. We might be geeking out, but we are definitely gigging out. So where is Anti-Scene playing? Well, May 8th, we are playing in Atlanta, Georgia. May 9th, we are playing in Chattanooga, Tennessee. May 10th, we are playing in Raleigh, North Carolina. May 11th, we are playing in Wilmington, North Carolina. Please check either the Anti-Scene Facebook page or the Anti-Scene website or my page for more information about these exciting, upcoming concert attractions. Oh, yes. Anti-Scene on the road, baby. 2024 is our year. I mean, every year is our year, but it's the official 40th anniversary year of Anti-Scene. We've got a brand new album out. We actually have two, but we'll get to that also in a minute. We will get to that in a minute. Great Disasters. And we are playing a selection of songs from Great Disasters on these upcoming shows, and that makes me very excited. What else is going on gig-wise? Well, how about this? Can you read this backwards? June 14th at a venue called Young Ethel's, a rare sighting of my all-improv noise rock band, Ultra Bunny. We do not play out very often these days. This is a very rare and special occasion. We're playing with Mustafina, Mode Love Songs, and the truly great and justifiably legendary Martin Beasy with his collective. So, yes, you do know what's good for you, which is why you will be in Brooklyn at Young Ethel's on June 14th to indulge in an extremely rare sighting of Ultra Bunny live in concert. I know at least one person who's flying in from North Carolina just to see that. She's a smart woman. What else have we got going on here? Well, how about this? I kind of like the sound of my sick voice. I like the gravel that it adds to it. It makes me sound more macho. Here's something coming up. The Danbury Record and CD Expo, baby. Yeah, May 4th. VFW Hall number 149 in Danbury. It is happening. A whole big old room full of record dealers, including myself. Yes. If you have any special requests or want lists, send them to me. Because as I just was griping and groaning about, I got so much stuff I don't know what to do with it. So I would always be very happy to sell you some records, or tapes, or CDs, or VHSs, or DVDs, or whatever at the Danbury Record and CD Expo. There it is backwards. There it is backwards and upside down. And there it is in the incompatible landscape orientation. Who says the age of customer service is dead? Did you guys hear the squeak? Did you guys hear that? Let's see if you guys can hear the squeak when the squeaker is in position. There he is. Harry took a quick powder when I started smashing stuff, but he's back. Harry is so much of a ham that he cannot stay away from that camera. Can't do it. Won't do it. He ain't gonna do it. So welcome back, Harry the cat, who will be in his usual spot on my lap. Dude, now you're really hogging the camera. Right there. Stay right there, little guy. Boom. Right there. Yeah. That's my boy. Heather Wright has a comment. She said she was just speaking last night with the guy who filmed Devotional. He said that Anti-Scene blew him away the first time he saw them. That's cool. Heather Wright, was that Michael Pilmer, perchance? Michael Pilmer is a huge Devo fan and a huge Anti-Scene fan. Michael Pilmer is one of those people who has been working the angles the same way that I have and a few other people I know. He's basically a huge fanboy who just loves his music and loves certain bands, and over time has gotten to know them and has ended up parlaying his skill set into working with them, which I think is great. I think it's fantastic. So, it was Nick's homie Rush Cahal. I can't read that name. Rush Cahal? Cahal? I don't know that guy. Do I know that guy? I don't think I know that guy. Anyway, anybody who's a big fan of Devo and Anti-Scene obviously has double thick brain matter. And I don't mean thick as in the British sense, where, you know, if you're thick, you're not very smart. I mean thick as in dense, packed, and crackling with activity. Synapses firing so fast that your average Joe and Josephine America can't keep up with them. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah. All right, we've checked the bulletin board. Let's check the mailbox. I got the 1 Mile Scissors. I have a package. This came in the mail. Yes, it's from Clayton, P.O. Box 4905, Rock Hill, South Carolina. That's official Anti-Scene mailing address. And it made it to my official mailing address, P.O. Box 3626, Newtown, Connecticut, 06470. I know what's in this package. But I've been waiting for these to arrive so I can show you guys what we got. Cold opening, cold unveiling with the 1 Mile Scissors. And Harry the cat purring contentedly because he knows that a portion of all proceeds go to feed him and pay for his cat litter and his veterinarian visits. But here we go. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, but 10, count them, 10 copies of the other brand new Anti-Scene full-length masterpiece, Falls Count Anywhere. Yes, this band never stops. Never, ever stops. 14 songs. 14. What do these songs all have in common? I'll tell you what they have in common. 14 songs about professional wrestling. Professional wrestling. And I do not mean sports entertainment. We don't do sports entertainment around here. We do professional wrestling. The type of which essentially ceased to exist, in my opinion, sometime around 1995, when the great ECW reached its peak and then started swirling in the bowl. See, Harry likes it. Harry likes it a lot. What do you think, guys? Is it a tasty, classy CD or what? He likes to cuddle up to some Anti-Scene. That's my boy. Oh, yeah. Alan Versapella says he has been loving this new CD. He's been listening to it multiple times a day since he got his copy. Alan, you're not only an artist and a gentleman, but a scholar. Yes. 14 songs about professional wrestling. Who are the wrestlers in question? I'm going to tell you right now. Excuse me. Genuine spoken word intro by the great Mr. Pogo from Japan. We have a concept song about the exploding barbed wire death match. We're talking about Cactus Jack. We're talking about Terry Funk. We're talking about the great Kabuki. We're talking about bad guys in general. Invader 1 must die. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Bruiser, you know what I'm talking about. Thump, a tribute to the great Junkyard Dog. Bootleg Preacher, the great George South from Charlotte, North Carolina. Abdullah the Butcher, a song originally done by Beauregard from the Pacific Northwest. Sabu, the Freebirds, and a generalized tribute to the great masked wrestlers of the days of yore, the best of whom were the bad guys. And, yeah, CD, 14 songs, $10 plus shipping from me. Get them before I leave town tomorrow. If not, I'll be shilling it next week. Don't worry. I was born to hype. I was born to shill. I was born to promote. I was born to flog the product. So this guy can eat good. This guy right here. The one-toothed wonder. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. Now this is a thing that I ordered a while ago and it came in and I have not seen it yet. Many friends of mine in the Devo community have seen this. I'm seeing it right here, right now for the first time live with y'all. Came from the great country of England. We got the 1 mile scissors. We're breaking the seal. David Koresh spent a lot of time trying to break the 7th seal. I'm breaking the 2nd seal of the day live here on Facebook and archived forever on my YouTube channel. Here we go. Slow and slow and steady and steady. That's how we open the boxes when we're not feeling petty. We rip it open and sure enough, there it is. Long awaited. You're seeing it at the same time that I am for the first time. The Art Devo triple album. 3, count them, 3 full-length vinyl LPs of vintage Devo recordings from the very beginning of their career. Yes, I have it on CD. I have a digital version of it, but being the ridiculous Devo completist that I am, now I have it on vinyl. I missed the boat on the super duper expensive deluxe version of it. I just didn't have $150 something to spend on it, but the new budget line version, which clocks in at about $40, now that I could afford. Even with all the veterinarian bills that this guy's been racking up lately. He sleeps so peacefully through my invective. So yeah, very cool, very excited. Let's take a look at some of the vinyl on here, shall we? Let's look at the packaging. I forget the dude's name, but the guy from Futurismo Records who put this out, he's also like myself and Michael Pilmer. Super fanboy by his persistence, tenacity, and just maybe by being a complete pest like some of us do, got himself in on the supply side, and now he is releasing music by some of his favorite bands. And he does a real good job. I've met him a few times at the Devotional. Super cool guy. Wish I could remember him. Hey, Tim Height from New Hampshire is tuned in right now. Tim, I want you to place some links to your music so that people can see them. We want to see some Gagger. We want to hear and see and know what you're doing these days musically. Oh yes, look at that nice deluxe. huge poster sort of thing. Too big for my phone, but there it is. And there they are, the aforementioned 3 albums, each on a different color of vinyl. I am not a compensated endorser. I paid full price for this. I'm just a fan. Just a fan. Look at that. I'll be playing that soon. You better believe it. Yes, Dell. Dell from Futurismo. Thank you, T, and thank you, Heather, for reminding me of that. So, what's going on? If y'all saw one of my posts earlier today, you saw that I was having a tremendous brain fart. Because I've been feeling a little bit gross and a little bit under the weather, and involved in this huge, great big move and all this stuff. I just could not think of anything to talk about on Tent Talks Tunes. I'm a busy man. And I thought, you know what, I'm so busy, why don't I share with you people exactly what it is I'm busy with? Because as you know, we're all music fans here. Uh-oh. T. Kadev says he has an original Art Devo gold disc boxed set if you want to trade. Trade is one of my favorite words ever. T, talk to me. Let's make like Monty Hall. Let's see if we can... Let's make a deal. Because from what I understand, the original pressing did not have these generic black sleeves. The original pressing had printed inner sleeves. Am I right about that? And I'm such a completist that I need to have the printed inner sleeves. I just do. I just do. Couldn't afford it at the time, though. But maybe we can afford a trade. And the cat just sleeps through the whole thing. Excuse me. So what am I busy with? What is it that's kept me so busy that I can't sit around and brainstorm topics for Tent Talks Tunes? Well, besides the move, besides the sick cat, besides feeling a little bit under the weather myself, I've got so many projects going on with my fabulous label. Not SOPT, but TPOS. That's my label, kids. TPOS. And just like Dell from Futurismo, I have transitioned from being a pure consumer to a combination consumer producer by releasing stuff on my label by bands and artists who I love. And I started making a list of all the different projects I've got. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11 that I didn't write down. 11 in various stages of completion that I can think of right now. And I know I'm missing a couple. But I have 11 pending releases right now. Some of which are almost ready to be manufactured. Some of which aren't even close. Some are just in the talking stages. Some are just in the dreaming stages. But all of them are going to happen. So why not tell you about the different directions I've been pulled in and some of the stories behind these. And I'm going to preface the first one by asking if any of you folks out there ever went to concerts by either Bob Dylan or the Grateful Dead, especially the Grateful Dead, but either Dylan or the Dead in the 80s, going into the early 90s. Anybody out there? I've been to a few. I think the last time I saw Bob Dylan was actually 1995. And I'd seen him in 93 prior to that. And I only actually saw the Grateful Dead once in 1989. But I used to go and follow them around a little bit and make the parking lot scene because it was very festive. You know, people selling stuff and, you know, tripping their brains out and acting wild and wacky and funny and ha ha ha. It was always very festive. It was like a really very good, positive, fun place to hang out. outside the arenas where the Grateful Dead were playing. T. Gadev said that he saw a few 90s Dead shows. Okay. Then T, I'm going to direct this at you. Do you remember there was a religious cult? And they, of course, never led on to the fact that they were a religious cult. They never, ever said what they were exactly all about. But they were a religious cult that were at, I think, just about every Dead show I went to back in the 80s and 90s, and both of those Dylan shows. And they would pass out these, like, zines. And each one was ostensibly a Grateful Dead fanzine, or a Bob Dylan fanzine. Brandon Yitai, he's been to Brandon, have you ever been to a Grateful Dead show? You're a young guy. I don't know if you've ever been to one. Brandon is casting a vote for the 12 Tribes. No, not the 12 Tribes. These people, what was I about to say? These people would hand out their zines, which, as usual, were somewhat deceptively titled and labeled as a Grateful Dead fanzine or a Bob Dylan fanzine. You know, you open it up and there's lots of photos and, you know, writings about Grateful Dead or Bob Dylan. But as you read more carefully, you saw that there was, of course, a pitch for the lost and lonely souls following the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan to join this religious commune, this cult, if you will. Excuse me while I reach over and hit my refresh button, because I have frozen on my monitor, but it looks like I'm still going out live, so I'm just double checking on that. Yeah, I'm live. I paid no mind to them. I really didn't care about them one way or another. The only thing I ever did was get a few of their zines and cut them up for the photos that they had inside them, because back in the days of Grateful Dead tape trading, it was fun to make cassette inserts for all the tapes he traded. So I would use their photos for cassette inserts. And did not join the commune, needless to say. Fast forward many years to about 2 years ago, when on one of my tape trading sites, because I still love to trade audio and video of the as they call them, ROIO, Recordings of Indeterminate Origin. I love to trade those. It's basically file sharing these days, but I still love to do that. Somebody posted a wild cassette. And I, of course, I don't have the actual cassette. I only have files of this, but this really insane cassette of just this freaked out noise rock by an outfit called Zendik. And it was really good. It was really unhinged, completely nuts. The kind of stuff I love. So I, of course, did some research on Zendik, and lo and behold, Zendik were the people that were handing out those zines at the Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan shows. Zendik. And they were led by a guy named Wolf Zendik. And Wolf was the guy responsible for this really crazy, whacked out music that I fell in love with immediately. So I did a little bit of research, as it is very easy to do online these days. And found out that, you know, the Zendik cult, it was Wolf Zendik's thing. He died, his wife took it over, and they actually released a lot of dang music. And so I, of course, went on an ordering spree, because a lot of it was available cheap. And I got a stack of CDs by the various incarnations of Zendik. And doing more deep dive research into it, you know, the cult fell apart a long time ago. Hasn't been active in forever, and, you know, its members are scattered to the winds. So nobody really has any grip, grasp, or grab on Zendik stuff anymore. So I figure, you know what? I think it's time for a Zendik release on TPOS. This is actually a different Zendik CD. It's got a different back. The stuff by Wolf Zendik is far more interesting than the stuff that his wife did after he died. Her stuff is a lot more new agey, feel goody, no rough edges, very smooth, Aquarian type stuff. Most of the stuff I've heard by Wolf is of varying degrees of off the chain, which of course is what I crave. The more off the chain, the better. So I've been calling through these various CDs, finding, a couple good tracks here, a couple good tracks there, but the foundation of whatever I do end up releasing my Zendik is going to be this one cassette that I got the files for. That's the real deal right there. That's going to be the core of the Zendik cassette on TPOS. And with some bonus tracks, mostly from the late, Grate, late great Wolf Zendik. So watch out for that, guys. That one's not coming out anytime soon, but it is going to happen. Wild sounds from the original Zendik. Excuse me. Excuse me again. I was spurred into action on this other TPOS release I've been working on forever by my pal Dennis Highland. Now, if you guys were watching Tent Talks Tunes last week, you will see that I did a cold unboxing of a little parcel that Dennis Highland sent me. And it contained an 8-track of Metal Machine music by Lou Reed, which is one of the greatest cultural artifacts I can conceive of with my feeble little aged, verging on geriatric mind. Metal Machine music on 8-track. OMFG. GTFO. Yeah. And I said, Dennis, how can I help you? What can I do for you? I want to send you something in return. And Dennis, in his usual humble fashion, said, Mofo, don't you send me nothing. I don't want any goddamn thing in return from you, no matter what, you son of a bitch. But if you were in the mood to send me some song poem stuff, I would accept it. Now, you people have heard me use the term song poem a number of times, and this sort of goes back around to what somebody said earlier about the new Gary Forney album. Now, Gary Forney, from LaPorte City, Iowa, is an artist who I've had the pleasure of releasing on TPOS. And he made his name by recording and releasing his material interpreted by song poem musicians. And long story short, if you didn't know already, a song poem is where just any person could write a poem or a lyric or a song and send it away to an outfit who would set music to it, charge them money, and then send them some kind of finished product in return. And, there's a lot of mixed feelings about the song poem industry. There were a lot of unscrupulous operators out there. There were a lot of song poem musicians who didn't care, who were in it strictly for the exploitative aspect of it. And because of that, and because of the wildly varying levels of songwriting skill and or wildly differing degrees of just basic sanity by the people who would send their lyrics in, you got stuff everywhere on the scale from sublime to from complete outer space. And when I first got into song poems and learned about it, I started collecting them, I was only interested in the from outer space stuff. Like the real, just wild, insane shiz that words couldn't even describe. And of course I still love that, but I've also gotten over the years a great appreciation for just the voices of regular people expressing themselves set to music. There's a lot of stuff that's actually really good. Yeah, a lot of it's totally crazed and out of control, but some of it's just plain old good. And a lot of it's kind of touching, you know. These are people writing with real emotion and real feeling, you know. A lot of real life genuineness in these lyrics that you will not get on hit radio, you know, or from whatever the latest product is, you know, your average Brittany, Whitney, Miley, Riley. I don't even know who these stupid people are. I don't care about them at all. But I do care about just the regular plain old Joes and Josephines who would send in their poems and their songs to be set to music. And I've got lots of these records. The Now Sounds of Today. Music of America from the Hollywood Artist Record Company. We have multiple volumes of Hollywood Gold on the Rainbow Records label. Multiple volumes of the Hollywood Sessions. And the more you listen to these albums, the more you hear the same singers popping up over and over again under different names usually. You can hear the same arrangements from the same arrangers cropping up periodically. And it's really fascinating. Here's another version of Hollywood Sessions. Here's another Now Sounds of Today. It's still an industry. People are still doing it. I think, in my opinion, the industry reached its heyday in the 60s, maybe early 70s, just because of the style of music that was on tap back then, which was, of course, disco, funk, that style of 70s pop music that I love so much. So, yeah, I'll reiterate again. Anywhere from sublime to ridiculous and everything in between. The vast majority of these things truly aren't very... They're kind of nondescript. There's a lot of regular, just nondescript lyrics set to indifferent music. But every once in a while, you do get one that just dropped straight off of a flying saucer, or who really has some genuine emotion and some genuine songwriting talent and skill to it. Those are the ones that make it worthwhile to slog through these albums. And I'm going to tell you right now, kids, it is a slog going through all these song poems. But when you find the isolated gem here and there, it's well worth it. And that's the beauty about Gary Forney's contributions to the song poem genre, is that all of his stuff is good. He collaborated mostly with a guy named David Fox, and they just made a lot of great music, you know. A minimum of 3 albums worth, probably 4 if you start adding them up. This is the compilation CD that Gary Forney's on, the Best of Magic Key, 95. And Magic Key is the label that David Fox ran. Or maybe still runs, I don't know. There's a fantastic movie called Off the Charts about the song poem industry. If you want to take a little bit of a spelunk into a very rarefied and strange corner of the music industry, look it up. Look it up. Off the Charts. So we have a comment from a guy named Gary Forney. Gary Forney states forthrightly that he has heard of Gary Forney. You know what, Gary? That's good. That's very good. Gary, I've got some 8 tracks going out to you when I get back in town next week. Promise, swear, I'm a slow-moving guy, but I never stop moving. And I'm glad you're tuned in, because you're hearing some of the reasons why it's taken me so verschluggener long to get you your product in hand. What else am I working on? Oh boy, this one is really just in the whisper stage. But the odds are pretty good that it's going to happen, and I really want it to happen. A few months ago, I was at a record show in White Plains, New York, and I was very pleased to have found an original 45. I know it's backwards, but Mark Markham and his Jesters, the A side being Marlboro Country, and the B side being I Don't Need You. This, my friends, is what we call a double A side barn burner of 60s garage rock. This record kicks ass from the very beginning of side 1 to the very end of side 2. I first knew of the song Marlboro Country because Charlie Pickett, as in Charlie Pickett and the Eggs, who were South Florida's top cowboy punk rockers when I was coming up back in the 80s, did a rambunctious version of Marlboro Country. And I had never heard the original until I actually found this 45 a little while ago, and my God, it's even better than Charlie's version. And that says a lot, because Charlie's version, yeah. Oh yeah, it rocks. It rocks. But you know, sometimes the master does surpass the student. So the thing is, Charlie Pickett and Mark Markham were cousins. And I'm in touch with Charlie, so I called him up and said, Charlie Pickett, I really want to reissue that Mark Markham 45. Think it can be done? He said, yes, I think it can be done. And so we talked about it a little bit. We sort of sketched out some terms. And, you know, it's kind of the usual deal. He's got things going on in his life. I got things going on in my life. Between all of these things going on in our lives, the reissue of this incredible 45 is just kind of, you know, running in the background somewhere. But like I just said a second ago, I move slowly sometimes, but I'm always moving. And so there will be nudges and gentle reminders and the occasional poke and prod to make sure that the reissue of the Mark Markham and His Jesters 45, Marlboro Country, backed with I Don't Need You, does come out on TPOS. This record is fantastic, and I will be very happy to have it out on TPOS. I'm sure there must be a clip of it somewhere, maybe on YouTube. If you can find it, give it a listen. If you love 60s garage rock as much as I do, you're going to dig it big time. Oh yeah. Here's a big old project I've been working on. I've showed you guys this before, the G.G. Allin, It's Not the Money, It's the Mission 7-inch EP. Recorded live at SUNY Purchase in Purchase, New York. It's an art school. This here 7-inch has been out for a while now. This is the second pressing. It features The Disappointments, which was, I think, one of Gigi's best backing bands and a hell of a band in their own right. I'm working right now on a CD, DVD package. The complete concert by G.G. Allin and the Disappointments on crudely shot VHS under battlefield conditions and 4-track recorded audio. I got to remix the audio from the original 4-track. We did what we could with the video, but the DVD's going to have lots of bonus materials, narration, eyewitness accounts, all kinds of stuff. And I'm right on the verge of putting the finishing touches on the cover art and packaging for that. And ironically enough, Mr. Clinton Zilla, who's tuned in right now, says, great 7-inch, you are correct. Clinton did the authoring on the DVD, and he did a fantastic job. And Clinton, if you're watching right now, I'm gonna make a request. Could you send me, please, the ISO files for the DVD? If you'd be so kind. I could just then upload the files to the manufacturer and get this thing in production even more quickly. Per from Sweden says that he has the Mark Markham 45 in his collection. Oh yes, so Per, you know what I'm talking about. That record, man, it's so good. It's so good. Dig the Charlie Pickett version and dig the Mark Markham version. Satisfaction guaranteed. Yes. Here's another one that's merely in the talking phase, but it is going to happen. Tiny Tim, 1979. Unreleased full-length LP. One of many that are strewn about the history of Tiny Tim. My good pal, excuse me, Justin Martell, who is the executor of Tiny Tim's estate, has been working hand in glove with me on this reissue, which, if all goes well, will be the first of several unrealized Tiny Tim projects that never came out in his lifetime. So that's happening. We've talked about the cover art. Excuse me. I've got the multi-tracks. What we're working on right now is getting some horns to overdub. We need a horn section because Justin has a very specific idea of some hot horn playing he wants to hear on some of these tracks. So we're working on that. So that's going to happen. You know what else is going to happen? Without revealing too many details, because my good pal Mark from Punk Media has not said anything about this, but I'm just going to say, in so many words, Tiny Tim, G.G. Allen, split 12-inch single. That's all I'm going to say. Speaking of split 12-inch singles, how about an Anti-Scene Blowfly split 12-inch single? Yes, the great Blowfly, the original Dirty Rapper. This is going to be a reissue of the Anti-Scene Blowfly 7-inch that came out, I don't even know when, 20-ish years ago, with bonus cuts. Bonus Anti-Scene Disco remix. Yes, full-fledged disco remix. And a bonus Blowfly that was not on the original 7-inch record. And we've got ideas for the packaging of this one. If you guys are like me and you love disco, and you know for a damn fact that disco does not suck, you're going to like this one. The disco vibes are going to be heavy on the Anti-Scene Blowfly disco single. Oh, yes. What else have we got going on? Not one, but two at the moment. And this could very well blossom into three. Actually, it's three. My God. 3 different books. 3 different books by and or about G.G. Allen. Speaking to that guy again. Certain names do come up repeatedly in the story of TPOS. G.G. is one of them. I have been working with the guy who was the original publisher of the G.G. memoirs. Got the green light to go ahead and print them in book form on TPOS. This is the book that G.G. wanted to come out. This was his official authorized autobiography. And it's one of those deals where you're just going to take it for what it is. I'm not going to be a spoiler, but I will say that it's primarily an exercise in brand building. As far as it being a strict autobiography, you got to do a lot of mining and a lot of sifting in order to find the real nuggets. But there are nuggets there, and it is something that he did want to come out. So it's going to come out. Also coming out is a book CD package called G.G. Allen Outlaw Scumfuck Writer. And it's a, excuse me, a chapbook of G.G.'s poetry and writings that he never intended for lyrics. He had a pretty fair number of them. He actually did publish a chapbook in 1989 called Murder in Society. So that's going to be in there, along with some broadsheets that he published and gave away, and some transcriptions of various things he wrote that were never recorded as lyrics. And accompanying that is a CD of many people who either knew G.G. or worked with him reading his poems and his broadsheets, set to a soundtrack made by other people who knew him or worked with him. So it's basically trying to round up all the G.G. alumni that I could find and who were willing to participate, recording their interpretations of his writing and or providing atmospheric sonic backdrops for these. The disc is essentially done. There's only 2 tracks left to go before I have everything mixed and mastered and ready to go. Excuse me, the book is pretty much laid out. So it's just a matter of me sitting down and actually finishing it. Same thing with the book written by Len Colby, who was Gigi's videographer and roadie in the years 1991 and 1993. He was friends with Gigi. He wrote an excellent book about his experiences with the man. Unfortunately, Len died while we were just in the very closing negotiations of, deciding what photos to use and what the cover art was going to be and all that. But the book itself is finished. It's completely edited. It's done. I'm laying it out even as we speak, and I'm going through whatever photos he did supply with me in order to determine what is going to go in the book and how it's going to be illustrated. Excuse me. Foreword by Michael Board. Introduction by Chicken John. Afterword by Mark Rentzer. 3 people who knew Gigi very well and who knew Len Colby very well. So that's going to be pretty cool. Very excited about that one. Boy, my voice is dying, but it ain't dead yet. Jeff Clayton, 7-inch single. A Jeff Clayton solo record. Featuring, once again, lots of Anti-Scene alum doing backing vocals. And all I'm going to say, it's 2 covers. The predominant instruments are violin, pedal steel, and grand piano. We're just going to leave it at that for the time being. I think I should also mention the Anti-Scene I Hate God split cassette that is coming out. A souvenir of our first tour together, which was recorded 5 years ago, almost to this very day. I Hate God sent me their finished tracks and the cover artwork. The Anti-Scene tracks are finished. We're just about ready to pull the trigger on that one. Wow. And except for the very wild, weird, and bizarre Grant Allen cassette of exceedingly bizarre synthesizer music for the 1970s, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's the whole shebang of stuff that I've got working on TPOS. Kind of hard to believe that's it. It seems like there should be more. As if that's not enough. Well, there you go, guys. That ended up being 1 solid hour crafted out of basically thin air. You got to see me destroy a tripod. Here's a very small little piece of the tripod. Here's another very small little piece of the tripod. My offer stands. You can either buy a brand new Mevo camera for $400, or you can buy mine autographed along with all the pieces of that tripod for only $300. Is that a bargain or is that a bargain? I'll leave it up to you to make the decision on that. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. My voice is gone. Harry has already flown the coop, and I've got many rivers to cross. So, guys, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to get to talk to you and discuss music and things. I know today was, very TPOS-centric, but I think it's a fun label, and I think that the artists on it are quite worthwhile and definitely worthy of discussion and representation. And I've got a busy couple of days coming up with hauling a bunch of stuff down to North Carolina, but I am pretty sure that I will be back in 167 hours' time with the next episode of Tent Talks Tunes. So until we meet again, this is indeed Malcolm Tent saying so long from the Nutmeg State.